we go. Hello. Today I am with Raul, who's one of our most experienced real estate agents and real estate advisors. He's been with the company for several years. So we're just going to do a little bit of an interview to have a bit of a chat about Raul's experiences, what he's currently up to at the moment, and what he thinks he's going to achieve in the future moving forwards for himself and his own business and that kind of thing. So yeah, so thank you very much for your time today, Raul. So we'll just go through
My pleasure.
a few questions with you. So Raul, how long have you worked with my real estate advisor for now?
It's I think this is my fifth year. I'm with you.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a
Since
while then.
2000, yeah. 19 I started, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Yeah, more than 5 years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Right. So you've been with the company pretty much since it started then.
Yeah.
From your experience when you first kicked off, I know that the business was brand new and everything. Did it take you a while to get into doing your first sale and understanding the process of selling stuff off the plan and that kind of thing?
Frankly, yeah, it took me a lot. Why? Because I was from a different industry. I was a banker, and I came from India. So the industry, the work culture, the terms, technology, everything was different. So understanding here, getting into the real estate sector, understanding the terms like the personal land package, full turnkey, what are the things and what are the requirement like we have to making the process with the help of solicitors that I was just learning. It took me at least 6 months to get like what are the terms because though
Yeah,
if you are not ready with those terms, you can't pitch the buyers. You have
yeah,
to be very confident. You have to be very fluent with that. So it took me a little while, yeah, of course. And after that, it took me further at least 4 5 months to get my first sales, which I
yeah,
did in
yeah,
very much in Kumara Gold Coast. It was
yeah,
the first house. Yeah. So that first deal was a complete exposure, although that was not a very high commission because that was a
mm,
ready to move in house. The builder was
mm,
not giving a normal standard commission, but I was ready to do that because it is giving me the complete exposure. What is the process from beginning to end, from the getting the signed UI to arranging buyers, their contract signed, their finance approval, and so there's
yeah,
so it was a non-financial reward for me, frankly.
yeah,
Although it was a like I got some commission, but I was more satisfied because now I learned what I have to do for my next sales. Now I
mm,
thought I was confident now. Okay, now I'm ready to get.
yeah,
And that first sales gave me enough confidence. And immediately from after 2 months' times, I was able to make, if you remember that, I was able to make almost every month one sales.
yeah, yeah. Your consistency went up. I think at the time, I said as soon as you've done your first deal and you've got it officially and you get paid, I said that will be when your confidence will go up dramatically and
It was
you'll,
more about your
yeah,
confidence. You were confident enough that now I can do it. And you know the process. First of the things that
yeah,
until unless you don't make a sales, you don't know what are the complete A to Z process. Like what are the things,
yeah,
what are the like in during that first myself, there was a time when in the valuation the shortfall came and I was totally confused. I thought, okay,
mm,
I'm losing these sales. But then I learned, okay, these shortfalls are the normal process, normal things which
mm,
happens.
yeah,
Only I have to manage with the brokers and the buyers, what are the extra they have, otherwise
mm,
adjusting with their down payments, making the things little conviction or also.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, so each and every stages were full of learning, and from that first sales till today, now as you know that with all sales and exposures and everything, now I have my own company
mm,
already using your system, my real estate advisor,
yeah,
and vis-a-vis, I'm using my own license so that
yeah,
I can have my extra income more and more.
yeah, yeah. No, that's really good. As I say, I think it's one of those things where at the time it took you a while to get into it, but once you got into it, you got your confidence, you've done some sales, you turned over a decent amount of money. I think the first one, as you say, it was an established property that they were just selling, so it wasn't quite as much money as you
For
would have
before your
normally
first
got.
till your first sales, you have to be a little patient. You can't
Yeah,
be desperate, and you should not give up like, oh, nothing is happening. No, you have to be very consistent. Whatever
mm,
opportunities you are coming across, whatever leads you are getting, you should immediately call them, because the moment you are getting the leads,
mm,
that lead inquiry is very hot. You should
mm,
not wait for even
yeah,
24 hours. If you
yeah,
click them, if you call them back within 12 hours, they will recognize, the buyer will recognize.
yeah,
Otherwise, this is a flooded industry. That buyer is flooded with
yeah,
so many agents like us. So it is
yeah,
you have to use that moment. You should call them immediately, as soon as possible. You have the inquiry.
yeah,
The buyer will recognize you, and he will respond to you also. Otherwise, after 24 hours, either he will not receive your calls, he will not respond to you, other maybe he is already in touch with some
yeah,
other agents,
exactly. Yeah. Do you
and he may
find
have
that?
got something.
Do you find that? Yeah, definitely. Do you find that you've done much face-to-face work since COVID? Has it gone back to normal? And how did you cope during COVID? Like, what? Because I think from our business point of view, originally, we were using display homes to meet with people as like the office, and we since then the majority of the work for the company has moved online. So everything's done over Zoom and emails and phone calls. But the people that are in your position that are actually doing the sales side of things, have you gone back to normal now where you're actually meeting people
No,
face to face?
why I like this business model, or especially yours, because you will not believe, in even in today's time, whatever inquiries you are giving me, or whatever uh, marketing I'm doing on my end,
Mm,
80% sales are I what I'm making. I have never met the person face to face. It is just over the
right.
phone or the call,
Yeah.
emails. That is the only
Yeah.
thing. That is the beauty. That it is saving your energy. It is saving your time. It is saving your
Yeah.
money. Because these things, if you, I have restricted myself to the new household packages of the plan, because why I was also doing existing, but that existing was requiring me a lot of time on weekends. I was killing my family time. I was not able to give enough time to my daughter.
Yeah.
My weekends are totally spoiled. And plus, there
Mm,
were so many paperwork that you have to adhere with, so many compliances, so many insurance that you have to get in. So extra, and the reward was just 2.5% to 3% of whatever the sales you are doing.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So for each sales, you are putting so much effort, and hardly you are getting 10 to 15,000 hardly. But
Yeah.
in our business models, it is nowadays builders are giving more, like it's up to 40 plus GST.
Yeah. Well, there's
Even if you make a
I mean,
three sales in a worst to worst condition in a year, you are able to make at least more than 120.
oh yeah, I mean, I had one lady, Callie, and she was working and doing normal residential sales, and I think she did 23 or 24 sales in a year,
Yeah.
and she only earns $65,000 because they paid her a retainer and then
Same
they took
things.
the
I
money
have
back.
many friends. I have one friend who is working with LG Hoopers. She is
Yeah.
doing very good, fantastic job. She is
Mm,
almost making sales, one or two sales every month. But
mm,
the worst thing is that she's still not able to make her total gross income 100K. Why?
mm.
First of all, 2.5% she's getting on the contract value.
Yeah.
And out of 2.75%, she has to give 60% to sorry, 50% to the LG hooker back.
Mm, mm. Yeah,
Now
that's
she's
right.
only having the 50%.
Well, I did a video the other day to try and explain it for new people because we were looking into actually making a course to teach people how to sell off the plan. Because I looked online and I couldn't really see very much there. So I think we're going to try and put together a basic course so people can learn how to sell off the plan. But I did a comparison of if somebody started working with my company versus working with an LJ Hook or a Ray White or whoever. And I said, well, you're on a retainer with LJ Hooker and Ray White, whatever, which is fair enough. You're getting your $750 a week, which you can live on to a certain extent. But what happens in a 12-week period, if you've got a listing and you manage to sell it within that 12 weeks, what's going to happen is the traditional real estate agency is going to take 50% of the commission, but they're also going to try and take the retainer back at the same time because that's their safety net. So by the time I'd worked it out mathematically, the person had gone to work for 12 weeks for $150 a week, right? Because they're getting half the money taken off them. So they're paying to go to work because the retainer, they're paying it back. So that to me is not a proper wage. That's not a proper income. That is an IOU. It is a short-term loan to go to work, right? So I said, if they worked for me, I would pay them
And
the
there is
70%.
another situation also, like another scenario also. If you are not able to make during that 3 to 4 months times, although you are getting a retainer, the company is not going to keep you for a long time.
No, no,
Just
they're
they
gonna get
can't
rid of
wait
you.
for you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing as well, is like they will
And
use them.
once they fire you, it is not about firing you. You just get demotivated.
Yeah.
It will take a lot of time. You may take at least 3 4 years to come back to get your
Mm.
things to stand on your own toes.
Yeah. Well, the feedback from the training companies that we've spoken to recently is, I mean, one guy said, well, what upsets him is he trains these people, they get their license, and he says within 12 months they're out of the industry for good. He says, because what happens is these other companies chew through these agents like they're nothing and spit them out basically, and they treat them very poorly. So their experience is pretty awful. So by the time they've gone through that, they don't want to work in the industry anymore. So as I say, like I did the compare and contrast, and that person, if they joined us instead, it'd be fair enough, we wouldn't pay them the retainer. But to be fair, if you've got to pay the retainer back, it's irrelevant. But we worked it out that they would have earned 1,400 a week with us versus 150 a week with an LJ Hooker, for example. So that person's almost 10 times better off working for us than they are working for an LJ Hooker. And if they sold something off the plan in 12 weeks, we're paying them 70% of that, which is 26 and a half grand or something like that anyway. So if it depends on the person, I suppose, if they want to do residential or if they want to sell off the plan, or if they want to try and do a little bit of both. And I think the little bit of both is a maybe, but I don't think it suits you personally, Raoul, because I think you prefer to have your weekends to yourself and do what you're doing. But some
Hmm.
people, if they haven't got kids, for example, they could say, well, I'll sell residential stuff and I'll also try and sell stuff off the plan. And then that way I've always got money coming in all the time. So
Hmm.
I think that is a good option for somebody
Yeah, of
that's
course. You
100%
have to be
committed to.
clear, like what you want to do. You have to
Yeah,
be clear. You have what you want to do, and you should then you enjoy it, and you have to put your best for that.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I agree 100%. So yeah, when you started, we didn't do any residential stuff at all. We didn't have a trust account set up. We didn't have all the stuff in the background to get it done. We didn't have RP data, I don't think, or any of that stuff. So we've got all that stuff now. So, if you wanted to do residential, you could do it. Not that you want to do it. You don't want to do it anyway. But if you wanted to, you can do.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so yeah, so you've managed to survive through COVID, so that's good. You've got used to this dealing with people from an arm's length, as in over the phone, possibly on Zoom and emails and stuff like that. Um, what's your plans moving forwards with the business and how you've tell me what you've done for your own lead generation, like because you said to me the other week that you were doing some of your own lead generation as well. So what's happened there with that situation?
Uh, See, now I'm also having, I have like rolled out my own. I have tied up with one marketing company, which are
Yeah,
just I don't know how they are operating with they have just developed one AI tools on a
Mm.
demographic basis. Uh, Before I was in touch with them for the last 3 4 months, giving my ideas. Look, exactly. See, this now you have to be very clear. Like the real estate industry, just you don't have to get the inquiries or the leads. You have to be very precise. If you are putting your money for a marketing campaign, and after out of that campaign you want to make some sales relatively solid, it has to be very focused. So it took me 4 5 months discussion with them, making them convinced, okay, what I am doing and what is my future plan.
Yes.
It was very hard to explain them because see, marketing companies, they don't understand on a micro level exactly what you are doing. You have to be very clear. So it took me 4 to 5 months to explain them, okay, see, I am doing house and land package, which is off the plan. So these off the plan normally takes 6 to 12 months times to get completed as per the construction. And the whole process from the getting the inquiries, from the getting the sign UIs and handing over, it is at least 18 months time. So normally these things are not for the buyers who are looking for the houses for the self-living.
Yeah.
This is mainly for the investors. Okay. So if the
Mm.
investors, then you have to be very clear. So, okay, what kind of investors? So I am at Brisbane, Queensland. These areas is very much in my control and my reach. So I'm
Yes.
focusing only these areas. So I have to tell them, okay, these are the price range from north to south, west to east. Okay, new development wise.
Yeah.
And for these areas, what kind of investors are coming? The
Mm.
investors, if the local, I'm saying, see, the local investors from the business, they can explore them themselves.
Mm.
They don't need
Mm.
me. And for them, they have so many contacts,
Mm.
local contacts. So somehow they will get. But if you have a interested buyer, they are
Yeah.
somehow maximum time dependent on you.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
don't have the local
Definitely.
contact. They suppose if I have a buyer from the Sydney, he may have
Mm.
some Sydney contacts. He can exploit his contact for the property in Sydney. But for the
Mm.
Brisbane, he has to go online. He has to contact someone like us. And
Mm.
then if he's like confident on you, he will be reliable on. He will be totally dependent on you.
Yes,
So
that's right.
I have to tell them that, okay, so my buyers are mostly from not, although I will be dealing in the Brisbane, but my buyers should be from the Sydney, from the Adelaide, to some extent from the Melbourne. Mostly, like I
Mm.
have to tell them that percentage wise, like 60% buyers are coming from the Sydney, like
Mm.
20 30% from the Melbourne, Victoria, and few are from the other states. So
Yes.
my target area, you have to target those area these zones. Out of these zones,
Mm.
you have to click the income wise. Like if someone is
Mm.
looking for millions, 2 millions, 3 millions, okay, that is not in my, because I'm doing house and land packages, which
Yeah.
is maximum 1 million or 1.2, not more than that.
Mm.
But if
Yeah.
someone is a very high net worth individuals, that is not my, although he is a potential client, but it is not for my purpose. He will go to a top class apartments or something in the cities.
Yeah.
Right.
Something in the
So I have to tell
CBD.
them, yeah, yes, I have to tell them, okay,
Mm.
you have to target these buyers whose
Mm.
incomes are this much, who are looking for this type of house and land packages in these areas. And so there are so
Yeah.
many things. So I have to concise, and then it took, like they were doing some uh, pilot survey, then coming back with
Mm.
me, showing the results. I was not happy. I was giving my feedback. Okay, no, this is something
Yeah.
missing. We have to include this. Finally, after 8 or 9 rounds, I have good data. It
Yeah.
it is rolling out now. Yeah, yeah. So these things now, as I've told you, I'm going to share some. I will have enough good quality leads from the
Mm.
September, October. Just waiting for something, for some
Yeah.
insurance things, because if I'm going full-fledged professionally in the marketing things, I have to take
Mm.
insurance for public liability and indemnity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the requirements are there, I have to take it. I'm just waiting for that.
Yes. Yeah.
Once that is that, I'll have at my end, you are providing, I'll also have something very good, which are almost under my supervision, good qualified leads.
Yeah.
And definitely I will not be able to cater them, because if I have a 10 leads, I can't call and cater all the 10 leads in a single day.
No,
And those
you,
leads has to be contacted immediately. Those leads has to be contacted immediately within 24
yeah,
hours. Otherwise,
exactly.
you will lose.
Exactly.
So it's better
Mm,
to use it like I will be sharing with you, a real estate advisor,
yeah.
to
Yeah.
you will be the good person to share those leads to other,
Yeah.
who are the
Well,
good
I'd put
salespersons. Yeah.
the team on it, and then we do like some sort of split on the commission or something like that, depending on how
Yeah.
successful they were. And um, from our side, like we're trying to make sure that each person gets at least 100 leads every month, but you can't always guarantee the quality. That's the thing that
Mm.
people don't realize. And the method that you use, like 1 month, for example, you might be using domain and it might be really good. You might be getting some great leads. The adverts are working really well. And then all of a sudden, the following month, domain drops off a cliff and it's not performing. I think the only one really out of all the platforms that's going to be consistent is realestate.com. But realestate.com is about 3 or 4 times more expensive than everybody else.
Mm.
So this is the reason why,
And
as
it has
I
more
expand
traffic.
the
It has very good
business,
traffic also.
oh yeah, definitely. But as I expand the business and I bring more people into the company, if I give you an example, if you only put 50 listings onto realestate.com, it's about $2,500. If you put 400 listings onto realestate.com, it's $7,500. But if you price up the actual cost per listing, the more you do, the cheaper it actually becomes. It goes from $50 a listing down to $18 a listing. So the more agents are working with the company, the more finance brokers that work with the company that contribute the administration fees and all that sort of stuff, the bigger the marketing budget, the more advertising that can get done, but it actually becomes cheaper for the
Mm.
individual advert. So
And
that's
it's
where
really
I'm
worth.
coming
It's also worth.
That's the thing. And we have to sort of look at it like, if we've got a low performing agent that doesn't make the phone calls, as you've just said, doesn't contact them within 48 hours or whatever, you've got to give that lead to somebody who's going to run with it and get it done. You can't just say, well, oh, well, never mind. It doesn't matter. So I think we're trying to make sure that everybody gets enough leads, but also we're looking at the quality of the leads as well and trying to look at other areas to get them. So Facebook and Google and Instagram and all sorts of different ways to get your leads. And with what you've done, what I like with what you've done is you've actually gone overseas, you found another company to help you generate the leads, and you're testing something out. So you've gone from this person that is not confident with what they're doing to a person who's prepared to jump on a plane and go and get a company to help you. So that's a massive difference.
Mm.
Like if you met yourself from 5 years ago, you wouldn't recognize yourself, which is
Yeah.
what I like. I think you've changed as a salesperson, as a professional in a huge way. Because the Raoul I first met would not be going on a plane to go and find a
Yeah.
marketing company to generate a
Yeah.
load of leads. Do you see
That
what I
that
mean?
time I
So
was also asking you to give me some salary kind of things on a monthly
yeah,
basis,
yeah,
but that
yeah,
was a ridiculous that time. It was
yeah,
just starting. I was very naive.
yeah.
I didn't know
Well, yeah,
what to expect, what to act. Yeah.
no. And thing is, it does take a while to get into it. And I think at the time that because the company was relatively new, I didn't have the resources to do what I can do now. Whereas now is I can spend probably 6 to 8 weeks building a training course that when somebody new joins, they can just do the training course. Whereas we didn't have any of that before. It was you'd ring me up and say, "What do I do now?" That's how you do this. I think I remember the time you had one guy and he was just about to buy a house and he got the sack. You've had a few things like that, haven't you, where you were just on the cusp of doing a deal and somebody got hit by a bus or something, or they got the sack or they were hit by lightning. There was some sort of problem. So you had a
Hmm.
few things like
There were so many things.
that.
Yeah, it was completely roller coaster.
Yeah,
Like since I was learning, so I missed so many opportunities. Also, it was not like
yeah,
although I was able to make some sales, but uh, it took me to convert all 100% after 2 years times.
yeah.
Otherwise, from first sales to in that first 2 years,
Mm.
I had lost at least 50% of my sales because of my uh, what do you say? I was not totally trained up. I was
Lack
just
of
learning. Yeah,
experience. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I was lacking experience. That is the case.
yeah,
But
yeah.
whatever I did, it was because of my confidence that I got.
Mm. Yeah,
So
yeah,
that time I had whatever I made because of confidence, and I was where I lost. It was because I was lacking the
yeah.
experience.
I think the other thing as well is because you do get paid the 70%, that's life-changing money because I think you've been able to invest that money as well, haven't you? And do a lot with it really to make that go a lot further. Whereas had you been just working for an LJ Hooker or a Ray White, you wouldn't have made that kind of money in such a short space of time. So I think that's another good thing that because from my point of view, when I was a salesperson, what used to upset me is the fact that the company I was working for took most of my money off me, you know.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, I'm the one doing all the sales, I'm doing all the hard yards, I'm doing all the hours, and basically I'm just using your brand. Like, and nobody really cares about brands anymore. I think the thing in the old days was, a Ray White or an LJ Hooker sort of meant something, but because all these other little companies have popped up all over the place, the general public don't really care anymore as much about the brands. I think it's you as a professional, you as a person that they're buying, not the brand. And I think that, the salesperson needs to get paid the decent amount of money. And that's why
Hmm.
we're trying to do it at 70% all the time. So yeah.
That 70%, like in the market, people are getting only like 40%, 50%. 70% is good. Like if you are getting like if you're making any sales, which suppose for a 35,000 plus GST, uh, you will have 26,950 in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's almost
And it's a lot
27,000.
of money. I mean, I worked it out before where the actual time to do a deal all up is around about 2 hours because you've got your prospect side where you're calling through the leads and you're talking to them and everything. When you're actually dealing with a person, you're sending a couple of emails back and forth. You're having a few phone calls. You might speak to a finance broker. You might speak to somebody's solicitor. You send in an expression of interest form in to a builder. Um, None of it's massively time consuming. You might have 45-minute phone call with the buyer to talk through what they're buying, when they want to buy it, what the inclusions are, things like
Mm.
that. But when you add up all the time, it's probably 2 hours, 2 or 3 hours worth of
Yes,
work
I was just
to
coming
get
to
one
that point.
deal.
Like honestly, in my experience, if you put on the complete dedication 2 to 3 hours a day, only 2 to 3 hours, it's enough.
Mm.
Trust me, you
Yeah,
will be in a 2 3 months time. The system will be in place, and you will be able to at least make one sales in a 2 to 3 months times.
yeah,
If you just
yeah.
start putting 2 to 3 hours, but sincere calls, responding to them, and just
Mm.
don't give up. Okay, try to. You should explore more and more with that calls. Like okay, suppose whatever the inquiries has come, you may not have that stock in your hand. You
Yeah.
should ask them, okay, other than that, what areas you are looking for. Okay, if I give
Mm.
you something else, if you have, I have something other options. So you have to engage the
Mm.
client also.
Mm.
You should try as
Yeah,
much as your best. And then
yeah,
finally, if it is nothing in, yeah, then you have to give up, suppose. But you have to engage your client, you have to engage your buyer as much as
mm.
possible. Try to make some personal rapport also,
Mm.
which is very rewarding after sometimes.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well is that as the company's continued and you've had things like issues like you haven't had the stock in an area or whatever, then as we've gone along, we signed up new builders and new developers to meet with your needs, because you can't rely on a handful of builders. You've got to
Mm.
have over 100 builders, especially if you're servicing huge areas. I mean, like you're looking after a big area in Queensland, really. I think you're doing from really Brisbane and then all the way down to probably the Gold Coast. You can cover, and that's probably your target market. I think a lot of the time you do Coomera, Park Ridge, and those sort of areas. I think that's the sort of places where you
Yeah,
tend to sell the most. But it's
my
still,
60% sales are from there.
yeah, you can't just rely on one or two builders. You might find that,
At least you should have. I have at least whatever sales I have made. It was from the 10 or 12 different builders.
yeah, yeah, and that was the thing. I think when the business first started, we were relying on maybe 30 builders across the country, and that was it. Now we're over like 130, I think. And I'm trying to sort of sign up at least one new builder every week, in
Mm.
different locations and stuff as I expand the business. But it just gives you more people to draw from. If you do get stuck and you can't find anything, if you've got another company you can turn to, gives you another option. So there's chances you are going to get a deal done because you've found somebody else that might have something that fits the bill. And as you say, they might be slightly in a different area or 10 or 20 minutes away down the road, but that's acceptable to the client because they want to be within that area, but they understand that there isn't that much available unless they're going to have an existing property.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I think that's good. So um I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I was going to ask you. Well, I'm struggling now. I think we've covered a lot. Is there anything else you wanted to add with your experience so far and what your plans are for the future?
Uh, Nothing. Whatever I am doing, I can share with that if you have any inquiries, immediately get in touch with them. Try to give more and more options. Don't just give up. Okay. You have to talk to different builders also, all the builders. Okay, I've got this inquiries immediately, so that at least you have at least 4 5 options to present the buyers. Just don't go with only one options. Don't go only one builder's stock with the buyers. Otherwise, it will look okay. You have certain limitation. You should show them that okay, you can cater them, you can serve them whatever they want. You have
Yeah,
multiple channels that you can get the things for them. So
yeah,
that is the thing. Second, you have to get in touch and whatever get in touch like the way you can make some personal rapport, which will give you fruits in the future. In my today's time, at least 20 30% sales I'm getting from my past buyers. Either
mm,
they are coming back to me or they are giving me reference and I'm able to make the sales. And
yeah,
those referral sales are solid because already that is coming through the reference who have that reference is my past bias. So they are already confident. They have a trust. There's no trust issue, and they are just
yeah,
going blindly with me. Whatever I'm telling
yeah,
them, even I don't have to explain them. They are just saying, "Okay, Rahul, whatever you will say, I know that you will do.
yeah. But
Whatever you will
you're
do,
gonna
yeah,
do the
it will be
right
good for
thing.
me."
I think
So
that
you have to continuously in touch with the buyers. Just after sales, don't give up the relation. Always keep in
mm,
touch after 1 2 months time. Just ask them, okay, anything that I can do for you? When are you looking for the next properties? Or if you know someone from your network, friends, just either tell them or let me know their number. I'll contact them with your reference. That's the things.
yeah, yeah, definitely. And you've got to keep them long term as a client, and then when they buy an investment property or they move house and they want to buy something else, they're going to come to you,
Yeah,
or they're
of
going to
course.
refer friends and
I have
family to you.
yeah. Last year I have made 4 sales because of my reference from my past buyers.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
100K from just by doing
yeah,
nothing.
yeah, just by being nice,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Um, I think the other thing is as well is that you touched on was the relationship you have with the builders. I think you've got to have that relationship with the builders, and you've also
Yeah,
got to
of
have the
course. And second,
relationship.
very most important thing, you have to always be in touch with the builders also so that they should know
Yeah,
that you are an active salesperson. It should not be like after 6 months time, just you are calling one builder. So they will not take you very seriously.
No.
Even if you don't have anything, just touch there, ask them by phones, okay, when the things are coming, where are the new stocks? I'm just working. Even if you don't have any inquiries, ask them, okay, I haven't got an inquiry, please give me the stock, so that they should know that, oh, okay, you are active.
Yeah.
You have to do some
Because
little
otherwise they
role play.
forget you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you have to do
Yeah.
little role play. Although you do like it had happened to me, like for the last in the month of from April to sorry, March to May, I had no any inquiries because I was working on my marketing campaign. But
Mm.
to show builders that okay, still I'm relevant, I'm active, I'm doing on a
Mm.
just fake. I was just calling one builder, okay, I've got inquiry to have a stock in the Logan Reserve. I was just taking them and keeping it with me,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to show them, pretend that okay, I have the inquiry, I have.
We've got
And they
something
when
going
they
on.
were calling
Yeah.
me, I just said that okay, the buy did not like. Okay, fine. But
Yeah.
these are the tips that
Yeah.
you have to mark your presence relevant. Otherwise,
Yeah.
when suppose if you have a very good solid bias which is under your control, that time maybe builder is not supporting you. So
Mm.
that is also very important.
Yeah. I think you build up relationships with them. I think the other thing as well is we do keep adding more finance brokers
Mm.
to the website, and you've got a group of brokers there that are at your beck and call. So if you did say get a first time buyer who's a bit green and they've not gone through the process before and they haven't got the finance, because we've now got this network of finance brokers, you've always got somebody to fall back on to say, well, I'm trying to get this deal over the line. They haven't really organized the finance properly. Can you talk to them? And you've got that relationship. So I think you should have a good relationship with the finance broker and a really good relationship with the builders that you're working with. And you'll be able to service the client better because you're covering all the angles for them. And the same thing is if they haven't got a solicitor, you should be able to recommend a solicitor to them and say, look, if you haven't got one, I know somebody that I can recommend. Because
Mm.
anything to make that deal smoother and it be as painless as possible, I think that's the way forwards. The more it's difficult, you don't know the right people, you don't know which builder to talk to, the less you know, the harder it becomes. The more you know, the easier it is. The better your relationships, I think, the easier it is. So that's what I think anyway. What would you say, Raoul? Is that your
No,
experience?
no, no, you're correctly. You said whatever you said. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the way forwards. And it does take time to build up the relationships with all these different people and everything else. But once it's there, you've got it, you know. And that the builders are going to help you. They're going to bend over backwards to help you get a deal done.
And you have to be very honest. Like suppose if you are new to this industry and you are approaching any builders, you should tell them, okay, I'm new to this industry. They will be more than happy to help you if you tell them. I did the same thing when I entered and I was calling the different builders. I was telling them, okay, I'm just trying to learn and doing this. Please help me. So there were few builders like I can name them: Choice Homes, Gemma from the Choice Homes. There was a Hedin from Tribeca, Greg
Yeah.
from uh,
G
the
developments,
GW
was it?
Homes, GW,
Yeah.
yeah, G Development.
Yeah.
So they helped me a lot.
Mm,
If you tell them, okay, I'm new, but I'm trying my best, and if I have any,
mm,
if I got any buyer, I'll come first to you.
yeah.
So they will help you, of course.
Yeah.
And these are the things you have to see. These are very things. If you actually guy, if you are new to this industry, you have to be very honest. You have to tell them, okay, don't tell the buyers that you are new.
No, that might
Don't
be a
tell
bit
the
of a
buyers
mistake.
that you are
Yeah.
new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell your the backend support, the support, like your counterparts, to your finance broker, to lawyers, to the builders, suppliers, everyone. But no, please don't tell it to the buyers. Otherwise, you will lose immediately. You will lose that sales.
Yeah.
Second thing, you have to be very patient. Don't give up in
Mm.
a 1 month time or 6 months time. No, you just stick. Wait for some time. Yeah, of course. I will say if it is not happening for the next 2 3 years, then you should think.
Yeah,
after 2 years time.
yeah,
But at least you should give that much. If you really want
yeah,
to make something big in
yeah,
this industry and enjoy this
yeah,
industry, after few years, it will take few years. Now, see, I'm revising my all times. I'm sitting at my home talking to you.
yeah,
Before that, I have done 3 meetings. You called me, but I was telling no, I'll just catch me at 10:45 because I was just talking to a few boys over
yeah,
from the Sydney. So these are the things you can have your own time managed. And the best thing
mm,
with the investors or the interested buyers,
mm,
you can manage them. I
yeah,
hardly drive to, I hardly meet any buyers once in a month. Hardly.
mm,
That is enough nowadays, because now I have built up
yeah,
my system. I have my
yeah,
own system. I can manage. Earlier, I was, yeah, of course, running here and there, struggling, doing the open homes and all the things. But
mm,
see, it is not like that. What I'm saying, it will be applied to you. Every person has their own modus, and
yeah,
everyone will develop their own modus operandi. They will have
mm,
their own system. Everyone has their own
yeah,
comfort zone. So,
yeah, that's right.
but the ultimate thing is you have to be persistent and patient. That is the only thing to start with this industry if you are new. That is the only thing.
Yeah,
Out of
yeah,
my
that,
experience, I can say, yeah, because I know myself, what I have from where and from where I've started. I
mm,
did not know if someone was calling me, can you give me full turnkey package? I was getting confused. What is full turnkey package?
mm, yeah,
So that
yeah,
was
there's a lot
so
of
confusing things.
terminology. Yeah,
There was
there's
a
a lot
house
of
and
that.
land package. I was saying I'm selling house. What is house and land package? So this is very foolish. But I was
Yeah,
that stressed that it was getting me confused. So you can
yeah,
relate me like at what level I was.
yeah, because the each industry has got their own terminology. Like, you know, they'll use words like vendors, full turnkey, inclusions, and all sorts of stuff where if nobody's bothered to teach you that, then you don't know what the hell they're talking about. And they're saying it like it's, um, an everyday occurrence because that's their world. But to you, it's like a foreign language. What do you mean? I think that's the same with the when you start in the industry and they say you're on a retainer and you go out. They don't really explain to you what a retainer is. Then you find out later on, you're like, what? So yeah, I think the full turnkey thing is the case of, it's saying, I mean, why they don't just say fully completed? I mean, that would make more sense. I think what they're trying to say is it's you turn the key, you go in the house, it's all done. But to say to make more sense, it would say a fully completed property. So all the landscaping's done, the post box is put in, everything's finished, and the person can move straight in. That's it, and everything's included within that price. That would make sense, but they've got a funny phrase for it. But you don't know any of this until you get into the industry, and then you pick all these little bits and bobs up, and then you go, "Oh, I know what you're talking about now," because the builder's not going to bother to explain it to you. So yeah,
They're not.
so
You will be learning by yourself.
yeah, yeah. Well, as I say, I'm going to try and put together a bit more of an in-depth course and maybe put that online. And, as we do bring new people into the business, train them up in a lot more detail. Because I think probably one of the things is I've worked in sales for a long time, so I go on my frame of reference, which is if somebody gave me leads and something to sell, I could just sell it. Whereas when you've come from another background or you're new into the industry, there's a fair bit of a learning curve there. And as you said, I think it took you a good 6 months to get into it. And then once you were into it, you're all good. And now you've turned it into your own thing and you're very comfortable and you work the hours you want to work and you work from home. And as you say, you're not driving around like a nutcase trying to get to appointments all over the place. You're pretty secure with what you're doing. So I think you've got a good work-life balance there. And I think with most real
Yeah, I do
estate
sometimes like if
jobs,
I
you
have a
don't.
I have good calls. What I do like in last year on the month of March, what I did, I went to Sydney for 3 days. I stayed there
Yeah,
and I tried to meet as many as people buyers and it because instead of calling them here, when I'm
Mm,
going to meet them personally, it was creating obligation, sense of obligation to them. Okay, Rahul has come to meet me.
yeah,
So they were
yeah,
hosting me for my sales.
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah,
So those are the little things that I'm doing nowadays. Instead of calling
mm,
them, showing them, I'm going to meet them and calling them for high teas. Like I have
yeah,
got few contacts. So in their restaurant, I'm organizing them, calling them. It is a just friendly environment. And out of that environment, someone is definitely coming. Okay, Rahul, I'm coming. I'm planning to do something. I will be in touch with
yeah,
you in the month of December. That's
yeah,
fine. So on
yeah,
one that reference is enough for me.
yeah. Well, I think that, and the thing is, it shows a bit of commitment. I mean, I've flown down to Sydney this year and Melbourne to meet with developers and builders, and you can't beat the personal touch of me actually meeting them and they show me around a finished apartment building or something or some townhouses, and it's nice to actually meet them in real life in person. And I think if you go into that kind of trouble for your clients who are interstate investors, that goes a long way. They can see that you're committed to them because
Mm.
you have bothered to fly down and spend a few days down there meeting them in person and talking about what they want to do. And they,
Yes.
and to be fair, like you're making 20, 30 grand out of that person. So it's probably worth the flight down to go and see them in person. You know?
Yeah, it was like hardly $500 for me for 2 3 days. Hardly five to seven
Yeah,
hundred dollars. But I
yeah,
got two good deals.
yeah.
This is enough. So
So it's
the my
close to
my past buyers
60K.
organized them. Yeah, I asked my past buyers. You remember that Suchit Garg who was in the for the Logan Reserve Lot 54.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He has a restaurant. So I asked him, can you organize your friends just for a high teas and tell them that okay,
Mm,
you are calling one salesperson from Brisbane and he will be just briefing you something.
yeah.
So though those were their friends, I
Hmm.
just made them. It was a very friendly environment.
Hmm.
It was not a typical professional. I was sitting with them with
No.
an jeans and t-shirt. That's all. I don't try
Yeah.
to make as completely professional like with the tea. I make to
Mm,
try to make the environment very lighter. And it was
yeah.
just very laughter, good, humorous things were going on.
Yeah. 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 A bit of fun with
It was
them. Yeah.
completely, I mean, that complete friendly environment, very
Mm,
casual.
yeah.
And they were so after that during by the time I was winding up, they were so comfortable with me. They said,
Mm,
okay, Rahul, Suchit has already told me about you. Now I have met you.
mm,
So I'm planning to something for this. This is my, but I will be coming back to
yeah.
that is so from there, from that time now I have to engage them and I call them, but I don't call start on a selling note. I just say, hi, how are you? Like on things, let me know when you are ready. Any kind of things
Yeah.
that you need, any assistance, I will be more than happy to help you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's really good. No, that's really, really good. And I think the more networking events you go to, all that sort of stuff, it does work. It goes a long way. Yeah, and that's what you need to do
You
at the
have
end
to
of the
very
day.
innovative. You should not be like a bookish what book normally the formula tells you make a you have to follow, but try to be little innovative, in your own way. Like I
Mm,
found these ways. Like nowadays I'm calling all my past buyers only. Try to
mm,
meet them, try to call them. If like I say them, okay, please organize your 4 5 friends over a party, drink party, I will also join you. That
yeah.
is the only thing. So
Yeah.
they
Not the
invite their
catch up.
friends, I join them, and once they know that I'm from this background, the ice is working.
Yeah. Because I think that when you're in real estate, um, because it's such a popular thing in Australia and everybody's interested in it. As soon as you mention that you work in real estate and you with a group of people that aren't in the industry, they're going to start asking you questions anyway. They're going to say, "Do you think the interest rate's going to go up? Do you think that this is a good area to invest and buy a property? Do you think I should buy something new or existing?" You're going to start having those conversations,
This is the
which then
industry
hopefully,
that the moment the people know that you are from the real estate, they will ask you, okay, what do you think when the rates
yeah,
is going,
yeah,
which
yeah,
are the
yeah. Like
areas,
you've got a
okay.
crystal ball, yeah, and you know.
So
Yeah,
it seems like you are from the from the board members from the RBA.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
But
Yeah,
yeah, these are the these are ready things that you have to answer. But
yeah,
they are also hidden opportunities.
yeah, yeah, for
You
sure.
don't know
No,
what
I
will
think,
turn.
yeah, yeah, I think you've got a really nice business model and a nice work-life balance, and you've taken something that was a difficult journey, and now you've come out the other end. And I think you're at a point now where it's comfortable. You're not working yourself to death. You're gonna earn some really good money. Um, and you've got a formula in place. You've got a work strategy. You've got something that works for you and works well. So I'm really pleased with that. I'm glad we've had the
No, no,
time to
thanks
actually
for
do this
giving me
interview.
opportunity because when I entered in this industry, you were the person who gave me the opportunity. And
Mm.
if you had not given me, trust me, I would have not learned those things what I am enjoying nowadays. So
No,
it was you, it was your
yeah,
system. My most of my sales were from you. Still, I am working on your system and the inquiries.
yeah,
Although it is not as compared to the last year because of so many things, I was in
yeah,
abroad and doing on my things. But yeah,
yeah,
uh, till last year, my 80% sales were only from your system, from your inquiries. So
yeah,
thanks to you. Thanks for
yeah.
all your system. Yeah.
Appreciate that. All right, cheers. Okay, well, I'll stop the recording now so we can have a normal chat. Thanks
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much for that, Rule. Thanks for your time today. I'm going to stop the recording now, and
Thanks,
yeah,
guy.
I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.